And we're live. All right, last time I was here was a while back, and I got some things wrong. I was wrong about the last rate cut. I was wrong about a blow-off top in crypto. And I was wrong about October 5th. But on October 10th, the largest liquidation in the history of cryptocurrency occurred. And God gave me clarity. And because of that, I had already sold a large portion of my portfolio. So it's not because I'm smarter than the market, but it's because I'm allowing God to lead me. And he gave me a conviction that even the charts weren't giving me, but God gave me that conviction. And so that's what FX3 is about. It's to build men who are going to stand firm in faith, think clearly in your finances, and live disciplined in your fitness. So today I'm going to talk about faith, finance, and fitness. So I'm going to talk about Jesus and him being the foundation of my life and hopefully yours. What is governed logic, and how to avoid being tricked and deceived. And then in finance, we're going to talk about the Fed meeting. I'm going to talk about global instability, geopolitics, go over some charts, gold and silver, precious metals. And then in fitness, I'm going to talk about what's HRV, recovery, habits, discipline, sleep patterns, and this Oura ring. So I made some mistakes on my last couple videos. I'm choosing truth over clickbait. Okay. I'm here to help people prepare. Okay. I'm not doing predictions anymore. I'm just here to be authentic. So let's start with faith. All right. So I was watching myself on here. That's kind of cool, right? But I'm going to use this for this segment. So truth is not a feeling. It's not a trend. It's not an opinion. Truth is Jesus. So what is governed logic? It's logical. It means that your thinking is anchored in truth. So ungoverned logic would be drifting, and minds that drift are not firm, and systems that drift are not firm. So in Matthew 24, Jesus said, take heed that no one deceives you. When you're talking about the end, I'm not here to say it's the end of times or anything of that nature, but that whole statement about what happens at the end of time and the end of the days and all of that stuff is it starts with a statement about deception. So don't let people deceive you, meaning you have to be grounded in faith and truth. 2 Timothy 3:13, but evil men and impostors will grow worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. 1 Timothy 4:1, now the Spirit expressly says that in the latter time, some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons. And so this is what we're dealing with. So my friend Paul, shout out to you, Paul, has developed something called governed logic. And I think it's revolutionary, and I think it can help change your life. And I'm going to give you instructions on how to do that in the comments. If you want to check the description in the comments. But there's basically a jailbreak and a hack that you can use for your AI. So I'm safe to say you guys probably all use AI. So let's call up my co-anchor here, Maple, my co-anchor on ChatGPT. Hey, Maple, you there?
Well, howdy there. I'm definitely here. I'm ready to be your co-anchor, just like we're sitting on a southern porch having a good old chat. Let's dive into whatever you need.
That's the worst. No, I don't want veil. Let me get.
Hey, hey, what's up?
I don't like that.
Hi there. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm excited to help you get things done.
Maple sounds much better than veil. Okay. Maple, you there?
Hey there. Yep, here and ready to jump in.
Tell me what you think in the chat. Is Maple better than Vale? Because I don't like Vale. Okay. Maple. Who is God? Maple, you there? Technical difficulties, live shows.
Absolutely. I'm always happy to help with the live shows. Just let me know what you're thinking and we'll get it rolling.
Maple, who is God?
Well, that's a big and profound question. Different people and traditions have different answers to it. In a lot of religious beliefs, God is considered the supreme being or the creator of everything.
Okay, Maple, you just ruined this. It's sad. I'm gonna have to fix that. God is the creator of all things, expressly shown in the Bible, who God is and who is truth. That is Jesus. Matthew 7:24-27. Therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will like him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain came, and the floods came, and the wind blew, and it beat the house, and it did not fall because it was built on the rock. But everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain came, and the floods came, and the wind blew, and it beat on the house, and it fell. And great was its fall. So storms are guaranteed. Jesus never once said if the storm comes. The storm is going to come. So the question is, what is your foundation? And Christ is your foundation. So if we're not building our life on Jesus, it's going to be very difficult moving forward. That's going to be, there's some, it sure feels like tension's building and uncertainty is abound. So let's bring Maple in again and ask Maple some finance questions, because I'm going to have to figure out what I just did wrong on that prompt, and we'll come back to govern logic on the next show. So let me jump into finance.
Absolutely. Let's do that. We can switch gears and dive right into the finance stuff. Just let me know what your case about and we'll get started.
Explain to me what hegemony is. Hegemony, how do you say it?
Yeah, it's one of those words that can sound a bit tricky. Usually it's pronounced like hegemony.
Hegemony.
Exactly. You got it. So hegemony is just a fancy way of talking about leadership or dominance, usually of one group or country over others. So yeah, now you've got both the pronunciation and the meaning in your pocket.
So what about, can you explain to me unipolar versus multipolar?
Absolutely. So think of it like this. If we're talking about a unipolar world, that's where there's just one big dominant superpower kind of calling the shots on the global stage. Now, if you shift over to a multipolar world, that's where you have multiple major powers or centers of influence. So instead of just one top dog, you've got several big players all balancing each other out.
Okay. So these are some words that I continually hear in my journey and my algorithm. Hegemony, hegemony, and unipolar versus multipolar. And so there's a lot of discussion right now about that we are losing, that the United States, everything that the United States is doing is to protect its hegemony. And it appears the world is moving towards multipolar instead of unipolar. Right now, for the past 80 years, 100 years, the United States has been the unipolar hegemony of the world. We're the dominant force, particularly the dollar. And so there's something called the debasement trade that's currently happening right now. And when everything is priced in dollars, everything appears to be at record highs. Real estate record highs, Bitcoin record highs, stock market record highs, gold and silver record highs. Everything is going up and to the right on a chart that's based in dollars. So are those things valuable, or is the dollar less valuable? So that's called the debasement trade. So let's ask Maple what she thinks about the Maple. What's up? What's the debasement trade? Explain that to me.
Sure thing. So the idea of the debasement trade is basically about investing with the expectation that a currency is going to lose its value over time. Basically, it's going to get debased because of things like money printing, inflation, or other monetary policies. So if you believe a currency is going to be worth less in the future, you might invest in things like gold, real assets, or even certain stocks or cryptos that people think will hold value better. In other words, you're trading based on the idea that the currency is going to get weaker over time.
Okay. Are central banks globally accumulating gold? And if so, how can you prove that? Ooh, she's thinking.
Yeah, they sure are. So just to put it simply, central banks have definitely been stocking up on gold recently. In 2024, they actually added a record amount, over 1,000 tons globally. Basically, they're doing it as a way to diversify their reserves away from the dollar, hedge against geopolitical risks, and protect themselves from inflation. So there's definitely proof out there that they're doing it.
Okay, right now today, breaking news, silver broke $60. So this is an all-time high, and this has never happened before in the history of the financial markets. And what does this mean? What are the indications of silver breaking $60? Thinking.
So as of right now, it's true. Silver just hit an all-time high, crossing the $60 mark for the first time ever. Basically, what this means is a few things are happening at once. There's been a real squeeze on supply, so not enough silver is going around. Plus, there's a lot of demand from industries like green tech and electronics. And of course, investors are jumping in because silver is a bit more affordable than gold, and they see it as protection against inflation. So it's a pretty big milestone.
So I personally believe it's a huge milestone. The Fed announces tomorrow a cut, and I just looked up on the CME watch tool that there's an 87% chance of a rate cut tomorrow. And so really, what does that mean for us? It just means lower, shorter term interest rates go down. Historically, that can mean longer rates go up, but short term rates come down. And this is a new cycle that we're in. It's called a cutting cycle. And this doesn't always mean immediate relief and all-time highs and good news for markets. And the fact that $60 silver is what we're looking at, and gold and silver are exploding through the charts. They've been the number one performing assets for the last 12 months, better than Bitcoin, better than stocks, better than bonds. Gold and silver for a 12-month chart is the best investment you could have made a year ago. So something's brewing, and I'm not going to try and predict a rate cut. It's pretty clear it's going to be a quarter point tomorrow. I'm not trying to make any clickbait and that sort of thing. But what does that mean? And then moving forward, what does it mean when this could be Jerome Powell's last cut? And then is someone going to come in and just take over the policies of DJT and cut rates? We're clearly there's all these terms that you have to familiarize yourself with. If you're not, this is like liquidity and global issues. Are the central banks buying gold, and does this signal stress? Why is silver spiking? It's typically a warning. When I was worried about October 5th a year ago, the October 5th that just happened a few months ago. A year prior, I had that day marked. That's something that for whatever reason, God put on my heart October 5th. And leading up to it, I was convinced there was going to be a blow off top in the crypto markets and then a sell off into that. And the blow up top didn't happen in the crypto markets, but the liquidation did happen in the crypto markets. And so crypto is a risk on asset, and it's looking like, and typically they lead the way in the sell off. And right now there's a sell off in crypto. So what is this leading to? And is this a leading indicator? So I'd like to look at some charts real quick. So let's share my screen. All right, so I've got this Bitcoin chart up. You can see Bitcoin here on a weekly chart going back for years. So there's one thing I really am going to stress, if you're a man and you're an adult male, learning some basic chart analysis, patterns, pattern recognition, particularly support and resistance, and channels. So you can see this large channel that the Bitcoin has been in since 2021. And there's a midpoint of this channel that goes up. And so the last bull run in 2020 and 2021, 2022 was above this midpoint line, hit the top, came down, and then it acted as support. It bounces around here. When it breaks all the way down to the bottom and creates this other channel within a channel and creates a bottoming structure. Then starts bouncing on top of it and then gets momentum. Hits that midpoint, it acts as resistance, has to consolidate, and then it blows through it. Again, now it's acting as support and then blows to the top. So then when you hit the top of this chart up here, expand it out a little bit, we hit the top and it gets rejected. So now this 126 mark is the top of Bitcoin, and it's been in a decline since. It's created a new channel and it's bouncing within this channel. Now this is the midpoint of that larger trend, and now you can see that it's acting as resistance. So I am not an expert, and this is non-advisory. It's just letting you know what I'm trying to learn. And it does appear that the same pattern is playing out. And so it would be plausible for me, for Bitcoin to kind of come down here. And there's a lot of this area down here of this $70,000 to $50,000 range appears to be a support. And that's where I would start buying. Not advice, just what I'm doing. That could be until this is going into January of 26. So right here is January 19th. January 15th, MicroStrategy gets an update if they're going to be allowed on the indexes. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but there's something going on with that on the 15th of January. So it's not looking good right now, in my opinion. Okay, let's look at the stock market. So we have, if we do an all-time chart here, 5 years. So, live shows, guys, live shows. Learning. All right. So you can see this huge trend here up, and there's your midpoint of this trend. Again, acting as resistance, support, breaks through, resistance, support, breaks up, breaks through, breaks down, and then blows through it. So once it blew through it, then it's creating another channel. So here we go with this channel up here. And this is an upward trend. So I'm not shorting the stock market big time and expecting anything, but this is a key number for me right here. If it starts coming through this, hitting this support level of around 65.53, what will happen here? And here's another support line going to come in here right around 6,000. Okay. And then what happens if it gets through that? It could be a long way down. Okay. So that's just something that I'm watching. So there's our S&P. There's our Bitcoin. I know I've talked about XLM a lot. XLM's not looking good. So now this midpoint of this channel is looking like it's being complete resistance here. Okay, so I'm expecting this to come down here. I'm looking to buy under 20 cents. Okay, 20 to 15 cents range. Same with XRP, not looking good. Midpoint is all acting as resistance. Same thing. Here's a big resistance at $1.60, or it could come much further down to $1. Okay. The big boys, what is silver and gold doing? Okay. So if we look at an all-time chart of gold, ripping. This is your all-time chart of gold. So be prepared here for gold to keep going. This is the trend. When we look at a more zoomed in weekly chart here, on a weekly, gold bust. It was resistance on the midpoint of this trend line on this channel. Then it got resistance here. Then this acted as support. Then boom, as soon as it went through, it popped up. And now this acted as support. So it's building on top of this to create a new trend on going up above this channel. So it does appear that there can be some downside risk here to gold. So this $4,000 an ounce to this $4,100 to $4,000 an ounce. Any type of move in here, and this is where I'm buying more gold. Silver is the big one. So look at our silver chart for the history. This $50 mark right along here, this $50 mark has been resistance for 50 years. And it just popped through it. So nobody really knows what that means. Anybody who's trying to tell you they know what that means, I'm not really sure. But it's going through channels, breaks to a new one, breaks high, comes down, makes a new channel, makes a new channel. This is all consolidation. And now we have this huge leg up through silver. So this is all the last year of exploding. Again, here's your midpoint of this channel, pops right through it, hits the top, acts as support, boom, it just broke through it. And now it's testing on top. So could silver come back in the next week or two down to $58? Sure, 59, 50, 60. The sky's the limit. If silver doubles from here, it will not surprise me one bit. So the ways to play silver is physical silver, ETFs in silver, and then there's SIL and SILJ. Again, completely non-advisory. I'm not telling people what to do. I'm just telling people how to take advantage of these new trends. This is the stuff that I'm seeing. I'm seeing a shift. Okay. There's a shift in markets from risk to risk off. And when hegemony is challenged and debasement occurs and liquidity issues and repo markets have problems and all of these key buzzwords that in the debasement of trade and all of this stuff, silver is the play. But it's not buy a silver and then tomorrow it doubles. This is something you have to be patient with, but expect things to get more expensive. Especially when Trump starts sending out $2,000 checks to everybody. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. Come back with you. All right. I'm gonna transition into fitness. Okay, so I appreciate you guys being here. I see exactly 0 people are watching live, so I really appreciate that. This Oura ring has helped me tremendously. I've been on a fitness journey for 5 to 10 years, and this 5 to 10 years, it's not an overnight thing. And there's no magic bullet, there's no magic pill. None of this stuff works magically. It doesn't work like that. And I've tested all these different things. I've tried different supplements. I've tried different diets. I've tried different workout plans. And you got to get used to what your body feels, and you got to get used. But the one thing that I found, like as in business and in life, when you track things and when you have key performance indicators and when you watch and know your numbers, then you're able to improve. Because if you don't really know what you're comparing, then you have no option. And so that's what this ring has really helped me to do. So there's something called an HRV, heart rate variability, and then it gives you a recovery index, and your recovery index is your resting heart rate. So how soon, when you go to sleep, does your heart rate lower early or late? And so if your heart rate lowers late, like at the last third of your sleep, that means it took you that much time. Your body doesn't start recovering until your heart rate gets down. And so eating late at night and having screen time late at night and being in high anxiety and doom scrolling and all these things cause poor heart rate variability and recovery. And so when you track it through this ring, it gives you the opportunity to improve. And so my challenge has been a poor HRV, a little bit too much stress and anxiety, late night eating, doom scrolling, some sleep issues, higher cortisol. And so these things lead to weight gain, poor sleep, lack of energy, fatigue. And this is the stuff that we have to combat. So when you're 47 years old, these things, it doesn't work like it used to in the 20s and 30s. There are things that I could overcome in my 20s and 30s that require much more diligence now at age 47. And so James 4:13-15 says, "Come now, you who say today or tomorrow we're going to buy and sell and make profit." Whereas you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Instead, you need to say, if the Lord wills it, we're going to live and do this or that. Meaning, don't wait till tomorrow. I know it's easy this time of year to say, I'm going to do it in January, and I'm going to do it on Monday, and I'm going to do it later. The decisions we make now affect the future. There is no future. It's not real. The future is not real. Can you prove to me what the future is? Nobody can. It's not real. The only thing that is real is the present. That's why it's called the present. It's a gift. Right here, right now. Do not put off to tomorrow what you can do today. And being diligent and being disciplined and having self-control, these things are going to help. When you're in your 20s and 30s, you can overcome that stuff. But when you get into your 40s, and if you want to play ball with your kids when you're in 60 and 70, it's the decisions you make today that's going to affect that. So your body is one of the talents that God gave you. Okay. You can't bury it in the sand. You have to be a good steward of what's been given to you. And when your body gives out, your destiny gives out, and that's it. You're done. So 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20 says, "Do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit? Therefore glorify God in your body." So you are body, soul, and spirit. And you can't neglect your body to feed your soul and your spirit. So people say, they want to pray all the time and be all spiritual, but then they don't want to take care of their bodies. That's not spiritual. Taking care of your body is spiritual. It's 1/3 of who you are, and you can't neglect any part of your Trinity. You are a Trinity, and you have to take care of all three parts. At 47, I feel this reality. So if you want to move freely when you're 60, 70, 80, you got to start today. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff's going to help the algorithm. This is my first show, a little choppy. I'm going to get better at this. I appreciate you sticking it out. Share this with somebody who needs, help, right? So come back next week. I'm going to discuss the Fed meeting. I'm going to get better at this flow. And I'm going to declare this over you. So you are grounded and one with Christ. He is your foundation and your source of faith. You are wise and diligent in your finances. You are the lender and not the borrower. You are the head and not the tail. You have self-control and you have dominion over your body. You are an FX3 stud. Keep it up. Keep on. You are blessed. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.